um, I was asked to lead this part of the meditation marathon, and the subject, Lama Kathy chose subjects for each of the nights. The subject is humor, and I'm not sure why everybody didn't jump at it, but it was kind of a hot potato. They said, here, you do it. And I'm really delighted. So what I did was I thought about humor and meditation, and I wrote down a few remarks today that I will share with you and take up a little bit of our time together. And then after that, we'll just do a little introductory prayer and then meditate together for a while. So humor, I was thinking about humor and the Buddhist path in particular, mind training and meditation practice. And what occurred to me is to ask the question, did you ever have a bad day? Of course, we've all had bad days, but I mean a really bad day when everything seems to go wrong and you get completely lost in anger and frustration and self-pity and the incredible story that's unfolding that we're always really just telling ourselves. And it gets worse and worse and worse until the final moment when you finally miss the last bus that's going home and you can't even get home. And at some critical point, when that last thing that could go right goes wrong, sometimes it's possible to just sit there and get tipped over an edge and laugh your butt off. And there's something really instructive about this for meditators. I mean, it happens to every human, but for us, it's an incredible lesson in some of the deepest teachings. And humor's like that. So when the absurdity gets so bad that it's overwhelming and we can't do anything but laugh, at the moment that we laugh, what we're doing is we're really, really taking our predicament and upping the level because we see the cosmic joke in it, the hopelessness of it, the joke in our own suffering. In what we call the preliminary practices of Buddhism, we have a few contemplations called the ordinary foundations, and they're precious. The first one is actually to contemplate your precious human life. And the second is to contemplate impermanence. And that's sort of how our predicaments arise. The third is to contemplate cause and effect, karma. And the fourth is to contemplate the defects of samsara. And, here's the cosmic joke. I'll just let you in on how all the punchlines are constructed right from the very beginning. For some reason, we really think that we can get what we want from this way of existing that is called samsara. And what I mean by way of existing is that we approach the reality that we're born into, that we live into, thinking that if we just massage it just right, it's going to give us what we want. And then we find out that even when it does give us what we thought we wanted, that's not satisfactory. And then very often it simply doesn't give us what we want. And when we see the joke of it, the joke has two parts. This is the first part. It's that we were trying basically to get blood from a turnip. We were trying to get happiness by having everything we want and avoiding everything we don't want. which of course is impossible. And we get ourselves into incredibly funny situations. And the best thing when we recognize that we've done it again, that even though we contemplated the defects of samsara in the morning, we'd forgotten about it and we thought we were going to get what we wanted, how can you help but laugh? The thing about meditation is that it opens a space. The space is always there, but it makes us aware of this space between the way our thoughts just run together. And it turns out that they're not just a complete endless stream, but there's a thought and there's a space and another thought that followed on the other thought and another space and so on. And as we practice meditation more and more, we begin to work with the spaces between the thoughts and let go of the thoughts themselves. Because of that spaciousness, we can begin to develop some perspective where we have a chance to see the humor of our predicament. We become aware of the passing show of our own lives, and it allows lightness to enter where only a moment before was heaviness or of anger and frustration. It's that perspective of understanding, oops, I forgot. Yeah, no, this samsaric way of relating to life isn't going to ever give me my desired outcome. But meditation, when it's practiced regularly, can put you in a state of what some religious people call grace. And what I like to say is, this is your first official joke now. In the space of grace, you can turn fizzle into sizzle. And so I really, really invite you to meditate every day so that you have more access to this spaciousness that a lot of people have named the state of grace. It's available to all of us. And when we meditate, when we have that perspective, we begin to see that we can't take ourselves too seriously. I see a lot of people meditating that get really, really tight and try really hard and even give themselves headaches sometimes. Literally, I've had meditation students ask me about headaches they were getting, and it turned out they were just really tight. The important thing is not to be tight. The important thing is attention and awareness, not tightness. The harder you grip it, the less likely it is that you'll experience spaciousness. That's for sure. So in the mind training slogans, there's one of the slogans, I don't remember the number, but it's real clear. It says, become a child of illusion. If you can remember to become a child of illusion, it's really, really good. And here's why. Look at a Buddha. Look at any picture of any Buddha, and you'll see that there's a little upturn at the corners of his mouth. There's a certain sense that Buddha knows, and because Buddha knows, Buddha is smiling. He sees the humor in our universal predicament, that all beings are lost in illusion. We are children of illusion. We have this illusion of thinking that samsara or samsaric way of relating to life will help us get what we want and help us avoid what we don't want. And he sees that, and gave us the teachings, and he is given us much kindness and compassion, but he's also given us a little perspective to see the humor in that keeps us a little light and a little loose, because he knows that we will awaken from the illusion, because at heart we're already enlightened. He knows that what seems so hard to us is, from another perspective, our own path to liberation. That's one reason that we're invited to see ourselves as a child of illusion. As long as we pretend that we're somehow special or awake already, how will we ever wake up? You can see the humor in that. I think it's hilarious. When we see our illusory reality as just what it is, first, we might actually engender some compassion for our predicament. And then we might realize it's pretty funny. Often the perspectives that come with meditation make me giggle. I mean, I wrote that down this afternoon. It's true. I can be sitting on my cushion. I can be doing meditation, and I'm being really very, very good student, a good meditator. And at a certain point, realize that I'm caught in this incredible story of me as something other than a child of illusion again, and I just have to burst out laughing. Thich Nhat Hanh said, "I laugh when I think how I once sought paradise as a realm outside of the world of birth. It is right in the world of birth and death that the miraculous truth is revealed. But this is not the laughter of someone who suddenly acquires a great fortune. Neither is it the laughter of one who has won a victory. It is rather the laughter of one who, after having painfully searched for something for a long time, finds it one morning in the pocket of his coat." Swami Byandananda, who is a fabulous comedian, says the bad news is there's no key to the universe. The good news is it was never locked. The great cosmic joke is that we are seeking, is what we are seeking, all the religious and spiritual seeking on this planet and probably beyond this planet. And we seek and we seek and we seek, and we end up right where we started. And if that's not a fantastic joke worth a good belly laugh, I just don't know what is. That's how it is. It's the laughter of delight. It's the humor of finding peace in pain. It's the humor of finding that life, even in the midst of frustrating, even frightening experiences, is life, and it's a treasure, and it's precious. It just has different funny clothes. The only thing that keeps us from seeing with some peace and possibly even some humor is just the story that we tell ourselves about stuff. We all have happiness within us already. We just have to clear away the nasty habits of thinking that obscure it, which is part of the goal of mind training. One of the practices that we recommend is mind training, and particularly at the beginning of mind training, we tend to work with what's called calm abiding meditation, or Shine in Tibetan. And In Tibetan, the word for meditation, I don't know if all of you know this, is a word gom. So in English, we'd spell it G-O with an umlaut over it, M, gum. In Tibet, where they have monasteries and shrine rooms, they call the shrine room the gumpa, meaning place of meditation, or, place of gum. Well, gum doesn't really translate to meditation. What gum translates to is getting used to. So the whole idea here is, if we can just get used to our mind, we can really appreciate it. And as we get used to it, we can see the humor in the everydayness of it. It's kind of a little like what Jerry Seinfeld did so well in this TV show. He didn't take anything extraordinarily uproarious ever. And it was one of the funniest TV shows of all time. But he knew how to give some space to the way that we normally express ourselves, and we can see the humor in that. So I don't know how to become a Jerry Seinfeld. I think he's just got a gift and he's a natural. But I do know that through meditation, it's possible to open up spaciousness that gives the kind of humor that helps me have that quiet smile that my teachers have, that little giggle that the Dalai Lama always seems to have no matter what. And we can share that path together. So I was going to give you a new set of thoughts about the stages of meditation, and then we can meditate together. Because the subject matter is humor, what I brought tonight is something called puppy dog meditation, simply because I think that's funny. Puppy dog meditation training has 5 steps. Anybody who's ever had a puppy dog knows these 5 steps. The first thing is that you relax and you allow your puppy, which in this case is your own mind, to wander. Just let it go. And when it gets too far, gently and lovingly carry her back to the place where you are sitting. That's step 1. Just relax and let the mind go. Let her wander. And when she goes too far, recognize it and pick her up lovingly and gently bring her back. Second point of puppy dog mind training. Now the puppy is getting used to you. It's getting familiar and starts to really love you. And she likes to sit next to you. And when she does just sit next to you, effortlessly, you rejoice. That's the second point, rejoice. If you catch her wandering, also rejoice at having such a lovely puppy, and then gently bring her back. That's the second point of puppy dog mind training. The third point is resolve. Now that you've relaxed and the puppy is starting to love you and want to sit with you most of the time, you have to develop some resolve. The puppy is now a young dog and is ready for training, actual training. And during the training, you resolve to firmly enforce attention. That's the discipline, attention, in a gentle and loving way. So at this point, we're starting to bring this dog to a higher capacity of being able to attend. And this opens up a lot of gifts and a lot of capabilities for that dog. And we start to discover that this puppy can do a lot of stuff that's surprisingly great. And we can rejoice again, by the way. The next point, the fourth point, is to refine. Now that our young puppy, our young dog is properly trained, it's time to refine her skills. And we do this by attending to the subtle nature of the breath. We begin to learn to use the breath in a new and deeper way. We can use it for compassion meditation, for example. We can use it, we can follow it with our attention now, all the way in, to feel the way that it enlivens us right down to the cellular level, that it grounds us and allows us to feel the way that we're supported effortlessly. I mean, nobody tries to breathe, right? It just comes and goes. And so here we are, refining our attention by simply following the breath all the way in. And then all the way out, where does it stop? Well, gee, what we're breathing out at this very moment actually will touch people all the way on the other side of the world in some way. It connects us all. And this kind of refinement is very profound. It breaks down our egoic sense of self. We realize we're not who we think we are, and our role is not what we think it is, which allows us to not take what we usually think of our role as being so darn important that it can upset us. In fact, when things go a little wrong, we can see the humor of it, because relative to sharing breath with people and animals and plants all over the world, no matter how profound our efforts are, they're not going to be even as profound as breathing itself. So we refine our thinking, and we begin to really appreciate and know the illusion that we're usually living in, and the illusion starts to unravel. And that brings us to the last point, the fifth point, which is release. So your dog, your mind, is well trained, and you can unleash her. You can let go of all the effort and just allow her to be, because her sense of self is at that point so profound and so well trained and so refined that it's full of only what it truly is, which is awareness, kindness, and compassion. So that's what I call puppy dog meditation. Relax, rejoice, resolve, refine, and then release. The further instructions are, don't stop and don't strain. Meditation practice should be mental hygiene, just like brushing your teeth is dental hygiene. You brush your teeth every day for numerous reasons. You don't want your teeth to rot. That's very good reason. You don't want to have smelly breath that will offend others. That's a very good reason. The mind is much the same, and it needs this thing we call meditation or gum in order that we don't have stinky thinky and really mess up the lives of ourselves and others with the way we think. And also so that our brain doesn't kind of just become contracted and rotten and unhealthy. So don't stop and don't strain. On the other side of that, to emphasize the don't strain part, because we can all be, especially we Americans, we can all tend to try too hard. And that may work in the short run, but rarely can work in the long run. So we practice, but not to the point of tension and rigidity. We just want to be dedicated and persistent, but gentle and lighthearted. And that's the path to joy. So that's all I had to say. That's about a half an hour. And may I leave you with this comment. May the farce be with you. Amen. I hope you got a chuckle out of that. So you can turn off the recording now, and let's meditate for a half an hour together. I'll ring my little singing bowl here to begin and lead you in a little bit of an opening prayer. And then at the end, I'll ring it again and lead you in a dedication of merit.